Hello, poor people. How are you today? Very quickly, we are going to discuss the subject of ingratitude, and not in its basic form, which is I gave her XYZ. She didn't say thank you. Far from it. We'll look at it from an extreme standpoint. At the end of tonight's discourse, you will understand perfectly why you can invest in an idea, in a dream. Someone's responsibility literally becomes yours. And at the end of the day, when it's successful, you are met with so much disdain. And even some, you're discarded. So you learn that this is not necessarily a personal defect, but you violated one or all of these laws. Years ago, and this is like the introduction to this thought pattern. This scenario got me thinking. I was at a chemist store one time, and the patient was narrating his experience to the nurse on how he invested in this guy's education, and he used to convert naira to cedis just to make this guy happy. He paid for every single tuition fee. Literally, he took care of this young man, and now he's established. He has forgotten him. So I went back home and I pondered. This is basically the story of most people, not just Nigerians, but you invest in someone or you give some kind of help, and now this person is in a position to reciprocate. He seems to ignore. It's not necessarily a personal defect. The first one, why this might be the case in your situation. So listen very carefully, because what you're about to learn is a very unique philosophy that's never been said this way. It's never going to be said this way, and it would insulate you from further disappointment. At the end of tonight, you would understand perfectly how to invest in people to avoid disappointment. So the first is, when you invest in someone, ensure your energy is going to produce a specific outcome. You don't invest abstractly. Like you're investing in an education or in someone's education and you're hoping he magically becomes successful or when he gets a job, things like that ultimately fuel disappointment. And that's why people suck up to pastors a lot, because you're coming from a position where you're depressed, you had no hope, nothing in society, and you listen to this man teaching, and literally he molded you to a point where you've attained managerial position. So that level of gratitude is contained within your reality. Why? Because his impact led to your success. I'll give you another instance. There's a young man whose uncle paid for all his tuition fees from the junior secondary down to masters. And after a few years of graduation, no employment. So he pivoted to one of these online schemes. And the person who funded his account, after a few short years, he became profitable. Now, the uncle, observing that height of success, is somewhat upset that this young man, after every single thing I've done for him, he can't come back to help me in this situation. Well, my friend, your effort did not lead to success. Your effort, as wonderful as it is only an emotional anchor. You did not literally do something for him. And some of you might listen to it and go down to the comment section and vent and say, oh, you should be grateful. But when you're put in this position, you're successful or you become successful from a different route. I guarantee you, your gratitude goes to the person who planted the success, not the other guy who tried. No, I'm explaining to you what men do, not what men ought to do. So gratitude is tied to your level of investment to results. If your contribution did not lead to a specific outcome, it takes God's grace for the person to be grateful. Yes, he paid my tuition fee whatsoever. I'm profitable in a different place. Do you understand? So when someone is ungrateful, I want you to check, did my efforts correlate to his outcome? Let's say, for instance, there is a teaching I did years ago about the law of honor, where you get a basket and something to appreciate the hierarchy. You get on your knees, sir or ma. Ever since I've come here, my life has changed. Thank you for this job. I'm doing my best to take the company to the next level. This might not seem like much, but relative to my income, this is the best I can do from a sincere heart. Thank you. Do you know how they respond? Yeah, just leave it there. But nobody is immune to honor. And maybe on that desk, he might be deciding the next set of people to promote and just found the remaining one. So one guy was so inspired by that teaching, and I can't recall how much he sent. But initially, I ignored the offer. But where he linked me to, the level of connection and access defined the next level of that business. So he's grateful to me because my teachings produce results. Am I the only person he's listening to? Probably not. Am I the only person he has honored? Yes, according to him. So whenever you help, I always ensure it's aimed at producing specific outcome. Else, it's termed as donation that ultimately fuel disappointment. And you notice when I speak, I see help as an investment, not necessarily because I'm Machiavellian or I can't do something out of altruism or I'm this selfish guy. If I give you something, I want something else in return. Absolutely not. But I believe to a degree, especially when you're not that buoyant, if you're investing energy, time, finances into someone, there has to be some kind of benefit. Yes, initially there's a gratification that you're doing something good, you're making a mark on the world, but part of you is like, maybe someday this guy is going to be something and he defines the next level of my life. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you look at scripture, it says, cast your lot 7 places, 8 places, for you do not know what the world holds. The point is trying to highlight is to always hedge against the future. And when you hedge, you diversify. You cast your finances into various sectors. And the best sector you can invest in is men. I'll give you an instance. There was this guy who met me somewhere, and I gave him access to some training program. And because of the destitute in finances, I offered to pay at the time. So I paid for his training, I paid for the accommodation, every single thing, all taken care of. And within few years, this young man will get a gig with some multi company, some very big industry. I would not mention its name. And just few days ago, I needed access to that company. There was something I wanted to pitch. And I said, who do I know in this place who can smooth in the operation for me? Because as dystopian as it might sound, if you have access to someone in a corporation, it's easier for you to achieve an outcome. So, for instance, if you want to apply for a job and you have someone there, I'm not saying he's going to manipulate and twist to give you the job. That's far from it. But your ability to skip lines, give you past materials, there are a lot of benefits to having someone or knowing someone in that sector. So yeah, I put out a message. Anybody who has connection in this route, please reach out to me. Let's deal. And funnily enough, this guy texted. And usually, when you have that kind of relationship, it creates a hierarchy. So you're not used to opening those kind of texts. So I got a text from him. And the first thing that came to my mind was this young man is probably capping. He's trying to use this to get access to me. And he thought that too. But when he sent me evidence and showed me proof, I was like, yes, this is the real deal. I was proud of the investments I had made. One of the 7 places I casted my lot is now profitable. It's ripe for the taking. So yes, always invest. Your level of gratitude is relative to the success on your investment. If your investment doesn't yield success, you're going to be met with ingratitude and resentment. I know a couple of guys, in fact, this is a very interesting point. There was this guy my father tried to help. So my father used to own a printing press. So he decided to put this guy there, and ultimately he failed because of his incompetence, by the way. Until date, this young man think my father is somehow responsible for his, should I call it, failed life. You see? So once you try to help and it doesn't lead to success, you'll be met with resentment because people have an entitlement mentality. And as always, my friends, a pleasure speaking to you. I'll see you in the next one.